Hola, mi amigos. Yo soy St.Christopher. This is The Woodsman, and this is The Writer's Block, a book review show where I tell you if a book is good enough that I would recommend it to a friend, or so bad that I would chop it in half with an axe. Today on The Writer's Block, we're doing two books. We're going head to head. Only one book will survive. And the books we have today are Lullaby by Chuck Palahniuk and The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. Good old Chuck, you might know him from his most famous works, the movie that he didn't partake in, Fight Club. And then this book, The Lovely Bones, which I found in a free library. I read these books back to back, and so I will make the comparison that they are both books about dead children. However, they are done in completely different tones. Lullaby is about a reporter who is put on the case of infant deaths, and he finds out that there is a secret lullaby that mothers are singing to their children to try and get them to go to sleep. And it is actually an old culling song with some hidden magic behind it, and it is murdering everybody. The protagonist then finds out that if he says the culling song to people, it kills them as well. And he is also a reporter with anger issues. And so he is constantly in a battle with himself over not murdering anybody who gets on his nerves. The Lovely Bones is about a 13-year-old girl who is raped and murdered. Then she winds up in heaven and kind of has a spectator's view of the world still going on. She knows who did it, and she is kind of watching everyone interact and pass by the man that has murdered her. I would only recommend one of these novels, and I couldn't get through all of one of them. The Lovely Bones, although it has a bunch more acclamations to it, is dry. And I think it's because of the tone. This is a book that is being taken seriously, and so you have to take it seriously. It's about serious matters. It's about death and sexual assault. And that's all good and dandy. But compared to another book that just kind of steamrolls over everything, there's a bunch of people dying. There's a man who just wants to murder his next door neighbors because they're playing music too bad. It reads much quicker. I am in a position right now where I don't want to fucking read a book. I don't want to read at this moment. I just want to go live my life. However, even though I don't want to read, I was able to still get through Lullaby. It is incredibly short. The chapters just breeze through. The characters are easy to understand. With Lovely Bones, it is a drag to get through. You are going on a journey where you have to take everything seriously. Take your time with it, because I think that's what the book is demanding of you. How are you, bike boy? Good. I stopped reading this on chapter 7 because they did a gigantic character introduction and I felt it was a complete waste of time. They did a flashback to this boy that this girl met and showed you them hanging out, and then we kind of fast forward through all of their meeting, and the dad shows up at that boy's house and he goes, "Your son wrote my daughter a love letter. I'd like to talk to him." That's all I need to know. I want the mystery of you don't need to introduce this kid. You just need the dad to show up at the house and go, "Your son wrote my daughter, who has been murdered. He wrote her a love letter, so he might have some connection to her." Then lead him with that. I don't need 7 pages of explanation of events that have already passed.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's tedious.
It's annoying. Yeah, I get it. They're friends. Let's get on with this. There is a great murder mystery plot that's going on here with the dead girl in heaven watching people get so close to catching her killer. That is the plot we should be focused on. With Lullaby, it just speeds along. It's funny. It's grotesque. There is some nice social commentary on how people are obsessed with music and entertainment and are flooding their brains. It aligns with what I believe, so I might be a bit biased. Lullaby is getting off the block, and Lovely Bones is not. There's one other thing. I'm skeptical about this Lovely Bones book, and it's just from the back cover. When it's talking about the author, it says, Alice Sebold is also the author of The Almost Moon, a novel, and Lucky, a memoir. She lives in California with her husband, the novelist Glenn David Gould. Have you heard of this guy? Neither have I. But what it tells me is that this person has connections to the writing industry. It's a little presumptuous with her introduction of the husband, because he is not a novelist, Glenn David Gould. He is the novelist, as if he's the only one. He is the novelist, Glenn David Gould, as if I was going to mistake him for the marine biologist, Glenn David Gold. Thank goodness we made this specification. It just tells me that they're a family, has ties to the industry. They can probably get any book published that they want. She published a goddamn memoir. Like, who gives a shit? That's a bit mean, but at the same time, like, hurry up with your writing. This doesn't make it off the block.